Good evening on this lovely February day in San Luis Obispo. Somewhere else that is cold, but not here tonight. We're very glad that you are here for our 9th annual Poetry Out Loud competition. It's an exciting evening. How many of you have been here before? Wow, great. And for those of you that did not raise your hand, welcome. I think you will be a repeat visitor next year. It's an exciting event. We're looking forward to giving you a wonderful evening. Well, just to let you know a little about me, I am Kristin Bridgeford. I am on the committee with a lovely group of volunteers for Arts Obispo Poetry Out Loud Committee. And with the help of Jenna Hartzell, our program's executive director for Arts Obispo, we are going to be walking you through the event, Poetry Out Loud. Let me tell you a little bit about what you will find out this evening. You will receive information on the criteria and rules for tonight's competition. You will be introduced to the judges who have a very difficult task of following this criteria and determining our county's winner. You will also listen to poetry from each of our contestants at schools from around the county. We're very happy that they are here. We will also be enjoying music from Sarah from the Como High School, who is going to be playing her piano. Thank you, Sarah. You will receive an opportunity to stretch your legs and enjoy some refreshments. Thank you to all our volunteers who brought you some lovely treats. And before we conclude by learning which one of these school competitions will be representing us at state in March, we will invite our lead teachers up to the stage. So we have some lead teachers here tonight. Be prepared to come and join us. So at this time, I'd like to invite Jenna, our executive director, to provide us with some housekeeping details.
Hello everyone, thanks for coming. So these students have worked incredibly hard to memorize 2 great works of poetry tonight. So in order to not interrupt their incredible performances that are yet to come, I'm going to ask that you follow these 3 rules. Please make sure all your cell phones are off or turned on silent. You don't want to be the person whose phone starts going off that throws the kid off who then gets a bad score. So turn them off. Okay. Next, if you have to get up during the rounds, we ask that you wait until after the student has finished their recitation. So in between, you can get up. The bathrooms are located right over here, so through these doors that you entered through. And lastly, we ask that you refrain from taking any flash photography. We do have a professional photographer here. His name is Dave Brown from slowtography.com, and if you're interested in accessing the photos that he takes here tonight, you can sign up on our email list, and we'll make sure we send you the link, okay? Let's see, so it looks like we have a lot of new people here tonight. For people who have been before, you're going to have to kind of listen through these rules again, but for those of you who've never been here, I want to kind of explain to you how these students are going to be judged tonight by our judges up here. This scoring rubric is how every student nationwide is judged, from every classroom competition, school competition, county competition, state competition, and finally at the nationals. So there are 7 different kind of areas that our judges are looking at. The first is physical presence. Just adjust this. Which is posture and eye contact and body language. The second is voice and articulation, which is the volume, the pace, the intonation, the rhythm, and the pronunciation. Third is dramatic appropriateness. And something to kind of keep in mind. Recitation is closer to the art of oral interpretation or storytelling, rather than a theatrical performance. So a good score in dramatic appropriateness is going to enhance your understanding of the poem and your enjoyment, and it'll showcase the language, which is kind of the star anyway, right? 4 is level of complexity. So a poem with a difficult content that conveys complex and sophisticated ideas with difficult language, complexity of diction, those kinds of things. Let's see, 5 is evidence of understanding. So this is the student's ability to capture the meaning of the allusions and shifts in tone. And you'll notice if the student really understands the poem, they're going to make you, the audience, understand and feel the poem a bit better. Their overall performance is the 6th, and the 7th is accuracy. Now this is the most important if you ask me. They can come up here and have just a stellar performance, and you as audience members, not knowing the poem, will think, oh my God, that's the winner. They did it, they won. But they might have missed an entire stanza, and so our accuracy judge has to totally ding them. So you guys aren't going to know, but our accuracy judge does. So she is following line by line, word by word. So accuracy is a big one. Okay, so it sounds like these judges have a pretty tough job here tonight. To introduce them, I'm going to bring back Kristin.
The Jenna and Kristin show, not really. We're waiting for our contestants. We're very excited to hear from them. But before I let you hear the contestants with their poems, I'd like to introduce you to tonight's judges. For our prompter, we have Mr. Will Jones, who is a retired principal and been in education for over 25 years. Thank you for being here, Mr. Jones. Our accuracy judge this evening is Kathy Henderson, our very own member of Poetry Out Loud Steering Committee. She is a retired librarian, and we are very happy to have her back. Thank you, Kathy. Steve Bland. Steve is a former president of Arts Obispo, board of directors, and was on the board when SLO County's Poetry Out Loud competition started 9 years ago. He currently serves as the president of Festival Mosaic board of directors, and Steve has a degree in English from Columbia State University in Georgia. He is a member of the Slow Motion Toastmasters Club, and we're very happy to have him here. Thank you, Steve. Jessica Pena. Jessica is the arts editor for the New Times. In the 3rd grade, she memorized an amusing Shel Silverstein poem about a kid who wrapped himself in toilet paper and looked like a mummy. Perhaps you read it. If you haven't, ask her. She will recite it for you. Her recitation is flawless. No one laughed when she said her poem, and she didn't pee her pants. And since then, she's been an avid fan of both poetry and toilet paper. Thank you, Jenna. Or Jessica. Marguerite is a professional artist, a naturalist, and a lifelong poet. She began writing poetry as a child on her father's farm in rural Pennsylvania. She's been the proclaimed San Luis Obispo's Poet Laureate 2015-16. We're very happy to have you here, Marguerite. Rounding out our judges table, we have Kevin Clark. Kevin is a published author and poet. He has earned a grant from the Academy of American Poets and teaches at Cal Poly and the Rainier Writing Workshop. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us this evening. Jenna, are you ready? All right, let's begin.
Okay, here we go. Round 1. I'm going to go ahead and introduce from Morro Bay High School. She's a senior, Chelsea Phou.
Echo by Christina Rossetti. Come to me in the silence of the night. Come in the speaking silence of a dream. Come with soft rounded cheeks and eyes as bright as sunlight on a stream. Come back in tears, oh memory, hope, love of finished years. Oh dream, how sweet. Too sweet, too bitter sweet, whose wakening should have been in paradise, where souls brimful of love abide and meet, where thirsting, longing eyes watch the slow door that opening, letting in, lets out no more. Yet, come to me in dreams, that I may live my very life again, though cold and death. Come back to me in dreams, that I may give pulse for pulse, breath for breath. Speak low Lean low. As long ago, my love. How long ago? Thank you.
So in between each reading, the judges are marking their scores. Then Anna Sarah Bridgeford is going to be running those scores back to our scoring table to Lori and John and Cindy, who are in charge of accurately inputting these scores into the computer, which will eventually determine our winner tonight. So just hang tight while they finish up scoring. I promise you won't hear me every time. We are going to have Sarah play next time, okay? All right, next up we have Liberty High School senior Amanda Pierce.
Serenade by Mary Weston Fordham. Sleep, love, sleep. Oh my gosh, sorry. I was nervous. Fine. Okay. The night winds sigh in soft lullaby. The lark is at rest with dew on her breast. So close those dear eyes that borrowed their hue from the heavens so blue. Sleep, love, sleep. Sleep, love, sleep. The pale moon looks down on the valleys around. The glow moth is flying. The south wind is sighing. And I am low lying, with lute deftly strung to pour out my song. Sleep, love, sleep.
Representing San Luis Obispo High School, we have Ethan McSwain.
They Feed, They Lion by Philip Levine. Out of burlap sacks, out of bearing butter, out of black bean and wet slate bread, out of the acids of rage, the candor of tar, out of creosote, gasoline, drive shafts, wooden dollies, they lion grow. Out of the gray hills of industrial barns, out of rain, out of bus ride, West Virginia to kiss my ass, out of buried aunties, mothers hardening like pounded stumps, out of stumps, out of the bones need to sharpen and the muscles to stretch, they lion grow. Earth is eating trees, fence posts, gutted cars. Earth is calling in her little ones. Come home, come home. From pig balls, from the ferocity of pig driven to holiness. From the furred ear and the full jowl come the repose of the hung belly. From the purpose, they lion grow. From the sweet glues of the trotters come the sweet kinks of the fist. From the full flower of the hams, the thorax of caves. From bowed down, come rise up. Come, they lion, from the reeds of shovels, the grained arm that pulls the hands, they lion grow. From my 5 arms and all my hands, from all my white sins forgiven. They feed. From my car passing under the stars, they lion. From my children inherit, from the oak turned to a wall, they lion. From they sack, and they belly opened, and all that was hidden, burning on the oil-stained earth. They feed, they lion. And he comes. Thank you.
Please welcome Graciela Maldonado, a freshman from Phou High School, to the stage.
El Olvido by Judith Ortiz Cofer. It is a dangerous thing to forget the climate of your birthplace, to choke out the voices of dead relatives when in dreams they call to you by your secret name. Dangerous to spurn the clothes you were born to wear for the sake of fashion. Dangerous to use weapons and sharp instruments that you are not familiar with. Dangerous to disdain the plaster saints before which your mother kneels, praying with embarrassing fervor that you survive in the place you have chosen to live. A bare, cold room with no pictures on the walls. A forgetting place where she fears you will die of loneliness and exposure. Jesus, Maria, Jose, she says, el olvido is a dangerous thing. Thank you.
A senior from Mission College Preparatory School, Connor Fairchild.
It Isn't Me, by James Lasdon. It isn't me, he'd say, stepping out of a landscape that offered, he thought, the backdrop to a plausible existence, until he entered it. It's just not me, he'd explain. He'd murmur, walking away. It's not quite me, he'd explain, apologetic, but firm. Leaving some job they'd found him. They found him others. He'd go. Why? Smiling his smile, putting his best foot forward, till again he'd find himself reluctantly concluding that this, too, wasn't him. He wanted to get married, make a home, unfold a life among his neighbors' lives, branching and blossoming like a tree. But when it came to it, it's not me, was all he seemed to learn in all his diligence for his outward. And why should it be so hard for someone not so different from themselves to find what they'd found, barely even seeking? What gift he'd not been given, what forlorn charm of his they'd had the luck to lack, puzzled them, though not unduly. They lived inside their lives so fully they couldn't, in the end, believe in him, except as some half-legendary figure, destined or doomed to carry on his back their own, all but weightless, stray doubts and discomforts. Only, sometimes, alone in offices or living rooms, they'd hear that phrase again, "It isn't me," and wondered, briefly, what they were and where, and feel the strangeness of being there. Thank you.
asking yourself, how do these students find these fabulous poems? Well, all the poems are selected from the Poetry Out Loud print or online anthology, which is updated every summer, and there are over 800 poems for these students to select. Poems that are particularly popular, or ones that have been used frequently in national competitions, are retired and new poems are added. This way, the Poetry Out Loud program can highlight new poems for students and their audiences. I encourage you to visit the Poetry Out Loud website at poetryoutloud.org. There you will not only find a poem for yourself or perhaps your Valentine, but you will also see videos and clips from previous competitions. I hope you enjoy it. Jaron Fuglie from Templeton High School, a senior, is now joining us on the stage.
Kubla Khan by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where out the sacred river ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground with walls and towers were girdled round, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree, and here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. But oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place, as holy and enchanted as air beneath a waning moon, was haunted by a woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm was ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in vast thick pants were breathing. A mighty fountain momently was forced, mid whose swift, half-intermitted burst, huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail. And mid these dancing rocks at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river. 5 miles meandering with amazing motion, through wood and dale the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult Kubla heard from far ancestral voices prophesying war. The shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. A damsel with a dulcimer, in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abra. Could I revive within me her symphony and song, to such a deep delight would win me, that with music loud and long I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice, and all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, beware, beware, his flashing eyes, his floating hair. Weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy tread, for he on honeydew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise.
Next up is Lopez High School senior Daphne Coffey.
Famous by Naomi Shihab 9. The river is famous to the fish. The loud voice is famous to silence, which knew it would inherit the earth before anybody said so. The cat sleeping on the fence is famous to the birds watching him from the birdhouse. The tear is famous, briefly, to the cheek. The idea you carry close to your bosom is famous to your bosom. The boot is famous to the earth, more famous than the dress shoe, which is famous only to floors. I want to be famous to shuffling men who smile while crossing streets, sticky children in grocery lines, famous as the one who smiled back. I want to be famous in the way a pulley is famous, or a buttonhole, not because it did anything spectacular, but because it never forgot what it could do. Thank you.
I'd like to just take a quick second to say thank you to some of the elected officials here tonight. It's really, a lot of our funding comes from, the counties and the cities and these elected officials who agreed to give us funding and support. And so we just really, really appreciate that. So thank you to Jim Hill. I understand he's in the audience, Arroyo Grande Mayor. Thank you, Jim, for being here tonight. Thank you, Kevin Drabinsky, a loyal Poetry Out Loud audience member from Cacho's office. Thanks for being here. And I think I saw Supervisor Gibson as well. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It means the world to have your support, especially for arts education and these incredible students up here. All right, up next we have Paso Robles High School sophomore, Leslie Galliano.
All This and More by Mary Carr. The Devil's Tour of Hell did not include a factory line where molten lead spilled into mouths held wide. No electric drills spiraling screws into hands and feet, nor giant pliers to lower you into simmering bats. Instead, a circle of light opened on your stuffed armchair whose chintz orchids did not boil and change. And the devil adjusted your new spiked antenna almost delicately, with claws curled and lacquered black, before he spread his leather wings to leap into the acid green sky. So your head became a TV hole, a gargoyle mirror. Your doppelganger, sloppy at the mouth and swollen at the joints, enacted your days in sinuous, slow motion. Your lines delivered with a mocking sneer. Sometimes the frame froze, reversed, began again. The red eyes of a friend you cursed. Your girl child cowered behind the drapes. Parents alive again and puzzled by this new form. That's why you clawed your way back to this life. Thank you.
Okay, so that concludes round one of tonight's competition. We invite you to enjoy a 10-minute intermission, enjoy some treats in this room, and after the break, we're going to introduce you to the incredible 6th grader who designed this year's Save the Date, or is he 7th grader? Okay, sorry, 7th grader who designed this year's Save the Date for the Poetry Out Loud competition. You can see a large version of it out here. So take a break and enjoy the treats, and we'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Before I bring up our 7th grader over here, I do want to let you know that this is all being recorded by the SLO County Office of Education, and it will be available, we're not sure when, but it'll be available on channel 19, and we'll send out the link also, so you can view it online, and we will email that out to everyone. So that's pretty exciting. So our Poetry Out Loud steering committee has been focused and committed to making this a student-driven event, to showcase student talent, but also give them some real-world experience. And one of the ways they've been able to do this is this design competition. And so this is our 3rd annual Save the Date postcard design competition. And I would like to introduce you to this year's winner. Let's see, where did I put that? Here it is. Eder Ramirez from Santa Lucia Middle School and the YMCA Youth Institute in Cambria. Congratulations. I wanted to say a few things.
I just want to say thank you to the friends that supported me and gave me the ideas to design this postcard, and say thank you to Dan for giving me the opportunity to be in the YMCA and be in the Youth Institute. Thanks.
Better. All right.
Now I've got to remember. Okay. All right, here we go, round two. Graciela Maldonado from Napomo High School, everybody.
Saquon Papadopoulos by Brenda Carter. In memory of Jose Antonio Berciata, 1947 to 1996. We are chameleons. We become chameleons. Jose Antonio Berciata. We are space between the black-orange blur of a million monarchs on their two-generation migration south to fur-crowned Michoacan, where tree trunks will sprout feathers, forests of paper-thin wings. Our Mexica, cocooned in the membranes de la Madre Tierra, say we are reborn Saquon Papadopoulos, mariposas negras y anaranjadas, in whose sweep the dead whisper. We are between the flicker of a chameleon's tail that turns his desert blue backbone to jade or pink sand, the snake-skinned fraternal twins of solstice and equinox. The ashen dawn, silver and dusk, la oración as it leaves the lips, the tug from sleep, the glide into dreams that husk out mestizo memory. We are one life, passing through the prism of all others, gathering color and song, cempasúchil and drum, to leave a rhythm, scattered on the wind, dust, tinting the tips of fingers as we slip into our new life. Thank you.
Thank you, Graciela. Graciela loves reading books by Ray Bradbury, J.R.R. Tolkien, and Ronald Dahl. And she loves the quote, swim, read, run, and eat. Before I invite our next participant for Poetry Out Loud, you may notice that our wonderful pianist, Sarah, has left the stage. She needed to depart, but she's still here waiting for her ride, so if we could all give her a round of applause. Thank you all. Daphne Coffey from Lopez High School is here to recite our next poem.
Battle Hymn of the Republic by Julia Ward Howe. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fatal lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. I have read a fiery gospel, written burnished roses still. As you deal with my contenders, so with you, my grace shall deal. Let the hero, born of woman, crush the serpent with his heel, since God is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to enter him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free, while God is marching on. Thank you.
Okay, that was Daphne, and she is actually originally from North Carolina, if you couldn't tell by the twang. She enjoys hiking and reading books by Veronica Roth, who doesn't love reading that word candy, right? Good stuff. Okay, next up we have Jaron Phou from Templeton High School.
Possible Answers to Prayer by Scott Cairns. Your petitions, though they continue to bear just the one signature, have been duly recorded. Your anxieties, despite their constant, relatively narrow scope and inadvertent entertainment value, nonetheless serve to bring your person vividly to mind. Your repentance, all but obscured beneath the burgeoning yellow fog of frankly more conspicuous resentment, is sufficient. Your intermittent concern for the sick, the suffering, the needy poor is sometimes recognizable to me, if not to them. Your angers, your zeal, your lip-smackingly righteous indignation toward the many whose habits and sympathies offend you, these must burn away before you'll apprehend how near I am, with what fervor I adore precisely these, the several who rouse your passions.
Okay guys, that was Jaron, whose favorite author is Douglas Adams, and is very invested in the performing arts, specifically drama. All right, next up we have Amanda Pierce from Liberty High School.
The Kiss by Robert Graves. Are you shaken? Are you stirred by whisper of love spellbound to a word? Does time cease to move till her calm gray eye expands to a sky, and the clouds of her hair like storms go by? Then the lips you have kissed turn to frost and fire, and white steamy mist obscures desire. So back to their birth fade water, air, earth, and the first power moves over void and dearth. Is this love? No, but death, a passion, a shout, the deep in-breath, the breath roaring out. And once it is flown, you must lie alone, without hope, without life, poor flesh, sad bone.
Paso Robles High School.
Happiness by Paisley Redmond. I have been taught never to brag, but now I cannot help it. I keep a beautiful garden, all abundance, indiscriminate, pulling itself from the stubborn earth. Does it offend you to watch me working in it, touching my hands to the greening tips or tearing the yellow stalks back? So wild, the living and the dead both snap off in my hands. The neighbor with his stuttering fingers, the neighbor with his broken love, each comes up my drive to receive his pitying, accustomed consolations, watches me work in silence a while, rises in anger, walks back. Does it offend them to watch me not mourning with them, but working fitfully, fruitlessly, working the way the bees work, which is to say by instinct alone, which looks like pleasure? I can stand for hours among the sweet narcissus, silent as a point of bone. I can wait longer than sadness. I can wait longer than your grief. It is such a small thing to be proud of, a garden. Today there were scrubbed jays, quail, a woodpecker knocking at the white and black shapes of trees, and someone's lost rabbit scratching under the barberry. Is it indiscriminate? Should it shrink back, wither, and expurgate? Should I, too, not be loved? It is only a little time, a little space. Why not watch the grasses take up their colors in a rush like a stream of kerosene being lit? If I could not have made this garden beautiful, I wouldn't understand your suffering, nor care for each the same inflamed way. I would have to stay only like the bees, beyond consciousness, beyond self-reproach, fingers dug down hard into stone and growing nothing. There is no end to ego with its museum of disappointments. I want to take my neighbors into the garden and show them, here is consolation. Here is your pity. Look how much seed it drops around the sparrows as they fight. It lives alongside their misery. It glows each evening with a violent light. Thank you.
We have Leslie on the stage, and she enjoys exercising her body with CrossFit method and exercising her mind with reading Scott Fitzgerald and Marcus Zuzek. Let me invite Ethan McSwain from San Luis Obispo High School up to the stage.
Under the Vulture-Tree by David Phou. We have all seen them circling pastures, have looked up from the mouth of a barn, a pine clearing, the fences of our own backyards, and have stood amazed by the one slow wing beat, the endless dihedral drift. But I had never seen so many so close, hundreds, every limb of the dead oak feathered black. And I cut the engine, let the river grab the drawn boat and pull it toward the tree. The black leaves shine, the pink fruit blossomed red, ugly as a human heart. Then, as I passed under their dream, I saw for the first time its soft countenance, the raw fleshy jowls, wrinkled and generous, like the faces of the very old who have grown to empathize with everything. And I drifted away from them, slow, on the pull of the river, reluctant, looking back at their roofs, calling them what I'd never called them, what they are, those dwarfed, transfiguring angels who flock to the side of the poisoned fox, the mud turtle crushed on the shoulder of the road, who pray over the leaf graves of the anonymous lost with mercy enough to consume us all and give us wings. Thank you.
cross country and loves to play music and sweet dance.
Woo!
All right, next up we have Chelsea Phou from Morro Bay High School.
The Universe as a Primal Scream by Tracy K. Smith. 5 p.m. on the nose. They open their mouths and it rolls out. High, shrill, and metallic. First the boy, then his sister. Occasionally, they both let loose at once, and I think of putting on my shoes to go up and see whether it is merely an experiment their parents have been conducting upon the good crystal, which must surely lie shattered to dust on the floor. Maybe the mother is still proud of those 4 pink lungs she nursed to such might. Perhaps if they hit the magic decibel, the whole building will lift off and will ride in glory like Elijah. If this is it, if this is what their cries are cocked toward, let the sky pass from blue to red to molten gold to black. Let the heaven we inherit approach. Whether it is our dead in Old Testament robes, or a door opening onto the roiling infinity of space, whether it will bend down and greet us like a father or swallow us like a furnace, I'm ready to meet what refuses to let us keep anything for long, what teases us with blessings, bends us with grief. Wizard, thief, the great wind rushing to knock our mirrors to the floor, to sweep our short lives clean. How mean our racket seems beside it. My stereo on shuffle, the neighbor chopping onions through a wall, all of it just a hiccup against what may never come for us. And the kids upstairs still at it, screaming like the dawn of man, as if something they have no name for has begun to insist upon being born.
She enjoys English and it's her favorite subject at high school. Let me bring back to the microphone Connor Fairchild from Mission College Preparatory.
Constancy to an Ideal Object by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Since all that beat about in nature's range, or veer, or vanish, why shouldst thou remain the only constant in a world of change, O yearning thought that livest but in the brain? Call to the hours that in the distance play, the fairy people of the future day. Fond thought, not one of all that shining swarm will breathe on thee with life and kindling breath, till when, like strangers, sheltering from a storm, hope and despair meet in the porch of death. Yet still thou hauntest me, and though well I see, she is not thou, and only thou are she. Still, as though some dear embodied good, some living love before my eyes there stood, with answering look, a ready ear to lend, I mourn to thee, and say, ah, loveliest friend, that this the meed of all my toils might be, to have a home, an English home, and thee. Vain repetition. Home and thou are one. The peacefulest cot the moon shall shine upon. Lulled by the thrush and wakened by the lark, without thee, were but a becalmed bark, whose helmsman, on an ocean waste and wide, sits mute and pale, his mouldering helm beside. And art thou nothing? Such thou art, as when the woodman, winding westward up the glen at wintry dawn, or o'er the sheep-track's maze, the viewless snow mist weaves a glistening haze, sees full before him, gliding without tread, an image with glory round its head. The enamored rustic worships its fair hues, nor knows he makes the shadow he pursues. Thank you.
That was fabulous. Thank you to all our contestants. Let's give them one more round of applause. Thank you for your generous show of appreciation. For those of you that have been here at a Poetry Out Loud competition before, you know that tonight's competition is stiff. We have some very talented students up on stage, so well done to all of you. Now let me once again invite our Executive Director of Arts Obispo, Jenna Hartzell, to the microphone.
Hi everyone, again. So right now there's a lot of scoring being tabulated, so I'm just going to kind of fill you in on something that's been happening on our end. First, let me tell you a little bit about Arts Obispo. We have been the county partner of the California Arts Council for well over 30 years now. We advance the visual, literary, and performing arts throughout the county through programs and advocacy efforts that promote public access to the arts, arts and education, opportunities for artists and arts organizations, and local arts planning and collaboration, which is a lot. Some of you might be familiar with some of our larger, more established programs like Art After Dark. Anybody been to Art After Dark before? In Paso or SLO? Okay, there you go. And maybe Open Studios Art Tour. This was last year's catalog. Yes? No? Yes? All right, good stuff. So programs like Art After Dark and Open Studios, these programs have a kind of a built-in funding mechanism, and that really helps us to execute successful programs year after year. Poetry Out Loud, which you are here for tonight, is not as established. We do get about $1,000 from the California Arts Council every year, but it doesn't nearly cover all of the expenses. Our planning team and our board of directors and our donors have stepped up for the past 9 years to keep this program going year after year. I mean, it's incredible. And we kind of like your help to take it a step further. We don't want your help to cover our expenses. We want your help to grow a scholarship fund. You may have noticed me kind of scribbling over here during the last round, and that was me growing a money tree. We do have a generous donor who has stepped up and said that they would like to provide $500 this year, next year, and the year after in matching funds. Tonight, our winner will be given $500, and the runner-up will be given $200. So what we're asking of you guys tonight is for you, there were envelopes on your seat. And I think if everybody gave maybe around $3 to $5 tonight, we could probably raise an extra $500, and that would put $1,000 into our scholarship fund bank. No amount is too little. Give what you can, cash or check. There is a jar that I think you can drop these in on your way out, or I think our address is on there, so you can go ahead and mail it in. But we just really want to applaud these students in a way that's going to make a difference for them when they attend college, university, or trade school. So I know I couldn't have gotten on stage in high school and done such a beautiful and eloquent job the way these students did, and we really just want to give them something to help them get started when they graduate. So I hope that you can jump on board and give what you can and help us grow and help us water our fictitious money tree over here and really contribute to make this scholarship fund last for a long time. So anyway, before we move on to recognizing the lead teachers that make Poetry Out Loud the success that it is, I'd like to thank a few more people. A huge thank you to the Monday Club for generously supporting us here tonight. Isn't this facility just incredible? And another really big thank you, Kristin thanked them before, but she's on the committee, so it doesn't really count. Thank you to our planning committee. They are just incredible, led by our program director, Lori Laring. You guys work so hard throughout the year to make sure that every high school in SLO County has access to this program. Not every high school participates, but they have the opportunity to because our team works so hard to get to those teachers and ask them to participate. And they do workshops with the teachers, and there's a lot of resources available that our program committee makes possible. So.
What a handsome looking group. Let's give them all a round of applause. Thank you, judges, teachers, and professors. Okay, so in the very important role of runner-up, who will take the place of the winner if they are unable to go to Sacramento in March to compete at the state from Tacoma High School, Kristin Mandano. Graciela is only a freshman, so she'll have to wait until she graduates to get that 200. But again, if you can donate to that scholarship fund, it'll definitely be there for her, okay? All right, and the winner of the 2015 San Luis Obispo County Poetry Out Loud competition going to Sacramento in March, I'm standing back, sorry, is from San Luis Obispo High School.
We are going to send Jenna out into the world soon. She has a wonderful opportunity to move on, and we will miss her terribly. And she has so helped this organization. I think you know that from being at many events. And our committee would like to give her a very small token of beautiful flowers. And to say we will miss your enthusiasm, as you can see, and your energy and your careful attention to detail. Welcome.
This is the last time I'll stand in front of you, but I do want to let you guys know that this is the first day of my job 5 years ago, was Poetry Out Loud. And so it holds such a special place in my heart, and I hope you all have experienced it so that it will hold a special place in your heart, because it means so much to me. These students every year just impress me, and they move me to tears and to laughter, and I just hope you all can walk away with that feeling, and I hope you as students can remember these poems for a lifetime, because I know how much words can change you. So thank you guys, and thank you Arts Obispo Board of Directors and everybody who's been a loyal supporter of this program. So.
Have fun.